Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Gaming Fiends. I got another video for you guys here today. I actually have a guest with me here today. He also plays World of Warcraft. This is Dergon Frost. Is that it?
You were close. It is I, the one, the only, the Dergon Frost, just without the. So just Dergon Frost. Right. I don't know why I had to make it so complicated.
All right, so I got you here today. We're going to be talking about, just basically World of Warcraft and its present state, and I guess about the future of what the game holds, pretty much. So I guess let's start off by talking about, kind of how we got into the game in the first place. So you can go ahead and go first if you want.
Sure. So, I am what many would consider to be a Wrath baby. My friend Mark, way back in 2008, got me into it. He paid for my entire WoW experience all the way up till Wrath of the Lich King. He bought the game BC. I just had to pay for Wrath, and that was after I leveled up enough to get there, which took a decent amount of time even then.
So did you use Recruiter Friend back then?
I don't think he did. No, I don't think he realized that was a thing. So I could have leveled up a lot faster probably. No, I did just straight up grind it out and learn the hard way. So I guess I got the true experience, sort of. I'll never get the vanilla experience, but it was still something. But yeah, I got into it. It was really fun, and eventually I decided to pay for myself like a good friend. Just be like, hey, you don't need to pay for me anymore. And then, I dinged 80 the day 3.3 hit, and I got tier 9 within a week. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm getting gear and blah, 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 blah. And I had no idea about it. So
about how long were you playing until you actually got level cap? How long did it take you?
Ooh, it took a while. I want to say at least a month, if not 2. I don't know how much time I was dedicating per day.
That's a lot faster than me.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it took longer. I have no idea. I honestly don't remember. I just think a month or 2. That sounds like a long time. We'll say a month or 2.
Yeah, if you play a lot, especially. But
how about you? How did you get into the World of Warcraft?
Well, actually, I started playing really when I was about 7 years old is when I actually first started playing. So the game's actually really old. Pre World of Warcraft, they had the RTS, the real time strategy games. So basically, starting from 1995. Mm-hmm. But I really didn't get into it until it was actually, World of Warcraft. And I really started playing, I don't know the exact time, but I think it was late in vanilla when I actually first started playing the game. And I was just a total noob, just starting
mm-hmm.
out. And I was like a little kid, too, when I first started playing. I was really, just unexperienced completely. Because, it's a complicated game, I was about... So if you're 7 years old playing this game,
oh yeah,
it's pretty difficult to pick it up, especially back then. But basically, it took me about 1 year to actually get to level cap. I never got to 60 during vanilla. I got to level 70 when Burning Crusade came out. So I remember just going through the dark portal for the first time. It was a really great experience. So I pretty much played all throughout the Burning Crusade. My main was a hunter. A Tauren hunter, and I was trying to play PvP, but it really was not a good idea because at the time, hunters were terrible, pretty much in PvP. You couldn't, you were really limited in your PvP abilities. It was pretty much known to everyone to be the absolute worst PvP class. Okay. But of course, I didn't really know that at the time. I was just
right.
But so that was pretty fail. And I was still learning the game, and it was pretty bad early on in my career. But after that, I got really excited for Wrath of the Lich King, and I guess most people would agree that's probably when the game was at its height, its pinnacle essentially. And so I loved
some might disagree because you get all those people like, "Oh, Burning Crusade, it was so good."
Well, not necessarily as far as the actual content of the game, just as far as the amount of people that were playing it more, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
True.
I had the most number of players during that time, I think. So
Yeah, it was around 12 million at that point, and I think the only time they even came close to reaching that again was at the very beginning of Warlords.
yeah, maybe Legion. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah, but so yeah, basically, I was really looking forward to that expansion. I played pretty much, tried to get to 80 as fast as I could. I don't remember how long it took. And then for the midnight release of Cataclysm, I actually like got up at midnight and played it, and that was pretty awesome. I thought that was a good expansion.
Oh yeah, Cata. I remember that because it was the first time I was going to get to experience a new expansion, and I was like, "Oh man, the hype is so real." And
Yeah.
I was working at GameStop at the time.
Oh, cool.
And I know I had taken the next day off. I was just like, nope, not working this day at all. And it was, oh God, I didn't know that the servers started on the West Coast time. And I was actually working the midnight launch. So I thought I was already late.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a snowstorm. So I was like going home 30 miles an hour. I had the soundtrack because I bought the collector's edition. I had the soundtrack blasted in my car on the way home. I was just like, yeah, I'm so pumped. I get home and then I put it in. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to play. And it's just like, we're going to go live at like 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, well, I'm going to go take a nap so I can have more energy to play. Wake up and, oh God, I did the worst possible thing imaginable. I was leveling Alliance on a horde-based server, on a PvP server.
Yeah.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, I did it. I didn't ding 85 all at once, but I believe I hit it within at least 2 to 3 days.
Okay, well, that's pretty good. Yeah, I've never really been, like, until recently, in Warlords of Draenor, but usually I'm not trying to speed level. I'm just really trying to just sit back and just enjoy it,
Yeah.
But I log in like after like an hour of playing. I'm already seeing max levels. Like I'm like, how are you already max levels?
They're like the ones that go through in beta and be like, oh yeah, we figured out the secrets. We knew this for months and how to like pull these mobs a specific way and power level our friends. And it's like, oh God, I just want to have fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
And the one thing I actually really liked that they did for Warlords is they took out the Realm First achievements.
Yeah.
Because in MOP, I got the Realm First. Granted, it was a small server. I got the Realm First Enchanter achievement. And
oh, wow, yeah.
It caught me by surprise because I was like going for it, but I didn't think I was actually going to get it. I was disenchanting every piece that I got from quests. I think that's how I did it. I didn't equip anything because the gear I had was sufficient at the time. And
so wait, what expansion was this?
Oh, Miss Pandaria.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The last, it was the last one they allowed Realm First, and then Warlords they took it on. I was just like, yes, I can just relax. That's all I care about.
Yeah,
I could just quest and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would just like transfer to like a low pop realm and then like transfer back once they got like Realm First or whatever.
Yeah, well, I didn't do. I'm not gonna pay money for that. I was just gaming on a low pop for like 2 years.
Yeah, if it's gonna be something, it's probably for me. It's probably gonna be Profession, like, like Realm First, like level like 100 or whatever. Like,
oh God, that would.
I hate to. I don't know what the time would be for that, but I would imagine it would be pretty tough to beat. But.
Yeah. Oh God. As long as they don't bring that back, I don't want that pressure.
Yeah, I never really even noticed it, until later on, when I never actually earned one, but I never even thought about it until like I started seeing it probably around Cataclysm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely an incentive to try to level up a Profession first or get max level first or whatever.
I just remember being, what server was it? The one that Blood Legion plays on. Shoot.
I don't know.
It's not BlackRock. Wait. Damn it. Illidan, maybe? Yeah, it's Illidan.
Yeah, Illidan has. I know the realm is like really populated right now. It's like.
I just remember
being
there the day. I keep cutting you off. My bad.
That's fine.
I remember being there the day that Blood Legion got Realm First. The raid, which the first tier 11 raid, Nefarian BlackRock, Blackwing Descent.
Yep, Blackwing Descent. Yeah, that's it. All right.
Yep.
That's history in the making.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like so yeah, I guess was there a Realm First achievement for the raids too?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's pretty much Realm First for everything. There's professions, leveling, raids. I think they still have raids. Raids is still a thing that they kept in because I know that's just its own competitive scene in general that the top guilds like to compete for.
Yeah.
I think that was really about it, though. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's somebody in the comments who's gonna.
Yeah.
But no.
So yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think Realm First needed to really stick around. It's really cool if you actually manage to get one. That just makes it even that much cooler. Like no one can get it anymore. So
yeah,
kind of one of those legacy achievements.
And I know some people will like to just sit and chat and spam like, I got Realm First this and Realm First that, and then like everyone else starts spamming their Realm First, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's another Thunder Fury contest.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to farm that actually, unsuccessfully.
God. Yeah, that's always a fun time. I have one half of the prison thing for
nice
Thunder, and I need to get the other half, and it just never dropped, and I just don't want to go back in there.
It's like 4%, I think.
Oh god, yeah, it's something ridiculous though. And then on top of that, like I was thinking, like I'm gonna get the rep. I'm at the point where I only get rep off of the bosses, and it's only 200 each. And it's just like this is gonna take months.
Yeah.
Like what?
That's old school. WoW.
Oh yeah.
I actually got Hand of Ragnaros a few days ago.
Which one's that?
It's kind of hard to explain how you get it, but it's like it's Ragnaros' hammer essentially, the original legendary. It's from Molten Core.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a title.
Oh no, it's like
it's
the other legendary from Molten Core. I just got it a few days ago. It's basically like the hammer or whatever.
So it's not Sulfuras.
It is, yeah. Sulfuras extinguished Hand of Ragnaros.
Oh, okay. So you got that from Firelands.
No, there's two.
Wait, whoa.
So there's one from Firelands, right? And then the original is from the original Molten Core.
Yeah.
It's the same weapon, basically. So you kill Ragnaros twice, and he doesn't drop it. He drops the Eye of Sulfuras, and then you actually make the hammer.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking of... I don't know why I was thinking, like, there's another legendary he drops other than Sulfuras. Like, you had me super confused for a moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, other than, like, Thunder Fury, like, in Molten... Like, there's two legendaries. Like, there's Thunder Fury, and then there's...
Oh, okay.
Hand, yeah.
No. For some reason, I was thinking, like, okay, Thunder Fury... I wasn't even associating that with Ragnaros. So, like, there's two legendaries off Ragnaros. I'm like, what? So I'm like, there's 3 in Molten Core total. What? I know there was that like necklace or whatever that got taken out of the game a very long time ago.
That seems vaguely familiar, but I can't really remember. I think I heard something about that, but I can't quite place it.
Those fabled rumors.
Yeah.
But so now that I seem like a total asshat, like, oh man, there's like 20 legendaries in Molten Core.
The third lost legendary.
Yeah.
It was scrapped from the game. It was put on a 1 gigabyte flash drive.
Oh my god!
But I got Hand of Ragnaros a few days ago. Basically, if you kill Ragnaros, he has a drop. It's called the Eye of Sulfuras.
Yes.
And it's a 4% drop, and then you make the hammer and you combine them, and it makes the legendary weapon.
Right. I think the eye can drop even if you don't. Because is there a quest line associated with Sulfuras? Yeah, Sulfuras.
No, but it's kind of a lengthy process anyway. But there's actually not an exact.
I know the regular hammer you could just buy, like it's a BOE.
Yeah, that's the way that. So I actually made the hammer myself. I'm on a low population realm.
Yeah.
So I went to the auction house. It wasn't there,
Right.
I've seen it go for like 30,000 gold.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous because people will still pay for it.
Oh yeah, but I probably would have bought it myself if I had seen it.
Right.
But actually, making it was actually pretty fun. There's a lot of steps involved. And farming that stuff was really a pain, like, because it wasn't in the auction house. I had to go do it myself, and it took a couple days. But like, and then you had to smelt dark iron. But the only way you can smelt, I don't know if you remember this, but the only way you can smelt it is like in the instance.
Yeah, at the not at the anvil. I'm sure there's like a special forge, right?
It's at the forge. It's right outside the portal for Molten Core and Blackrag Depths.
Oh, okay. Yep, I know that it is indeed still a thing.
So yeah, I was thinking, maybe they removed this, but no, you still actually have to go there.
It's kind of like with tailoring for the Mist of Pandaria cloth, the Imperial silk, you still have to go to freaking Silken Fields or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't want to go there. But you can still make mad bank off of that bag every 12 days.
Yeah. Well, how many slots is it?
12. I was just going to say 12. I'm like, no, it takes 12 cloth to make. The new one's 30. I believe that one's 28.
Oh, okay.
Because there's the fell cloth bag or what? No, it's not fell. Whatever the newest one is in Warlords is 30 slots. That's all I know.
Hexweave.
Hexweave, that's right. Yep, I have officially made one of those ever, and I was just like, eh.
That's actually a pretty good moneymaker.
It is. I just.
But it's
really
linked. You have to do it over a period of days or whatever. So it's kind of.
I got tired of logging in just to do my Hexweave.
Yeah, me too.
I don't even want to talk about the rest of the garrisons. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the garrison system itself was the thing to make me unsub for now.
Yeah, it really did not work out. And I was kind of excited about it at first. The whole idea of player housing, has kind of been in the game for a long time, but we never actually got to see it.
Yep.
But it really did not work out. They really could have done a lot better job with it. And I don't know if you remember, but when they actually announced garrisons, they said, you could put your garrison wherever you wanted.
Yes, I do remember that.
So, that made me even more excited. I thought it was just going to be really customizable, it would be really a good representation of, your achievements and stuff like that. I mean, I know there's, the statues or whatever, but
yeah,
everyone's garrison looks pretty similar,
Yeah, the only thing that's different is where you put your plot points, essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint on that. Obviously, there's tons of problems with it, but that was the thing that I was expecting that really just didn't happen at all.
Yep. Well, for example, I know said you've watched a little bit of Wild Grendor. In one of his little videos, he talks about a thing called Herbalist Island. And Herbalist Island was just a joke where he came up with, oh, well, people were complaining. It's oh my god, I gotta work so hard and grind up all this stuff in this game. It's so ridiculous, Blizz. And it's well, why don't we just have a thing called Herbalist Island where you just go there and you just herb everything in one spot and you don't even ever have to leave the island. And then flash forward because people were saying oh my god, Wild Grendor, you predicted the future. Because essentially our garrisons are Herbalist Island and, mining island and everything else we need island.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got my garrison mine or whatever. I'm actually a miner, so I thought only I had it. And I was what is this?
Right?
Don't have to leave your garrison? You can just get it here? And then I unlocked the herbalist place or whatever, and I was
Yep.
Whatever your professions are, you can get.
That was
basically
the biggest mistake, I think. I think the garrisons would have been okay. My only problem is since there's no real big central city outside of Ashran, and now not too many people really like it. The Alliance I have a much nicer Ashran, by the way. They really freaking do.
No, that's another big complaint about the expansion is the so-called cities, and I really wouldn't even call those cities. I don't they were announced capital cities, one for Horde, one for Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
But what I think the reason they put Warspear and Storm Shield is maybe to get players to Ashran, to maybe try to convince them to play Ashran. Maybe I'm not sure.
Maybe Ashran was its own disappointment. I was promised allegedly old school, what's it called, Alterac Valley, where stuff would just go on forever.
Oh, yeah.
And it's completely not that at all.
No, it's completely different. But
yeah.
I actually kind of enjoyed it at first, but, and then, later on, if you try to play now,
yeah,
just the imbalance of factions is absolutely ridiculous, to the point where you can't even play.
Yeah.
If you're playing Alliance, you're going to win every game, but your queue time's going to be 3 to 4 hours or something.
Yep, and that's all dependent on server, because I'm sure some servers are Horde and some are Alliance, and I thought for sure they would have done some kind of cross-server phasing with that, where it's just we're going to make a guaranteed balance on both sides.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to come up with this mercenary mode thing. I don't know if you've heard about that yet.
I have not, actually.
So basically, Horde players can queue as Alliance players, and Alliance players can queue as Horde players.
Wait, what?
You can play as the opposite faction. You can queue as the opposite faction in Ashran.
Oh.
And your character will take on the appearance of an Alliance character, and you play with the other side against your faction. So if you play a human, you go over to Undead or something like that.
Huh. So I wonder if somebody would troll and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to queue as the opposite side and make them lose."
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's like, "Yo, Billy, I'm going to help you out, man. I'll queue as Alliance, and I'll just like sit there AFK." And
But it seems to me like everyone's still just going to want to be on the winning side, pretty much.
True.
But right now, I forget what the numbers were, but just an overwhelming number of people switched over from Horde to Alliance. And I actually play a lot of Horde PvP. I'm primarily a Horde player. I play both factions, though. But I've mainly been a Horde PvPer. Like, all my PvP teams have been Horde. But, it's just been a really big disappointment, because even in Battlegrounds and stuff like that, the instant queue times are nice, but losing every time really is kind of sucks,
Yeah.
It's genuinely rare to actually win anything.
I had a lot of fun playing as a healer, and back in late cat I played as a paladin, and I decided to just go holy. And it was great. Like, I didn't care about it, the winning, losing. I just made sure health bars stayed up and went throughout my day, because I can't kill anybody in PvP. I'm just terrible. I'm like half keyboard turner, half not. My mouse, the only reason I can play with keybinds is because my mouse is like a knockoff Razer Naga, which I actually like more than the Naga. But it's got the same kind of 12 key layout on the thing, just so that's how I use my keybinds, because I couldn't do it on a keyboard forever. I was, oh god, you're going to love this. Everyone's going to love this. Until I got a Razer Naga, I think around time late Cataclysm? Yeah, late Cataclysm. I was clicking all them buttons.
Yeah, you're gonna love this too. All right, you ready for this? Okay, when I first started playing PvP, I used the arrow keys for movement.
I think we've all been there at some point.
That's not the right way to do it.
Yep.
But yeah, I was a total noob when I first started playing this game.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one walks in being an expert unless they've played good jillions of other MMOs, and even then, there's still going to be some new flavor. But yeah, I mean, WoW was definitely my first MMO. Well, technically, no. There was another MMO that you probably haven't heard of because it wasn't huge in America. It's a 2D Flash MMO called Dofus. It's
no, I haven't heard of that actually.
Basically, you combined an MMO with Final Fantasy Tactics, and you have the game. It's a tactical MMO.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty fun. It was very, very slow paced.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
As you can imagine. But yeah, I mean, I played that for years, and let me just say the micromanagement in that game would drive you insane.
Yeah, I guess World of Warcraft has pretty much just dominated the genre for a really long time.
Yep.
I tried to play the Elder Scrolls, but I really couldn't get into it. The Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I just didn't like it as much as World of Warcraft, so I just kind of quit.
Yep.
Like, all my friends were playing it, but like, I still just wasn't enjoying it.
Yeah, I remember every time a new MMO would come out, I'm like, is this gonna be the WoW killer? And then, of course.
Yeah, how many times have you heard that?
Oh god.
The new WoW.
I think the only one I was somewhat worried about killing off WoW was Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah,
that was super hyped up.
I think maybe it, might have taken away WoW players. A lot of WoW players.
Right. Well, because I mean, Star Wars is pretty much the biggest thing in any nerddom.
Yeah.
Since I mean, basically, if you think sci-fi, you think Star Wars. If you think fantasy, you're either going to think World of Warcraft, Lord of the Rings, or nowadays Game of Thrones.
Right, yeah.
So it's kind of like just, which are you? I'm more of a sci-fi person or a fantasy person. Me, I'm more of a fantasy person, hence why I stick with things like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, me too. I like both, though.
Oh, yeah.
But a World of Warcraft type MMO is definitely more appealing to me than a Star Wars MMO. I've actually never even played Star Wars: The Old Republic. I've heard a lot about it,
Same here. Even when I went free to play, I was just like, yeah.
I remember I was reading about it, and it was like an auction house, 2 factions, like it was just exact like description of like World. I'm like, this is World of Warcraft, like
World of Star Wars.
It's like World of Warcraft minus the $15 a month, I guess.
Right. After a while, yeah.
So I can see the appeal. But yeah, I've never really given it a try. I've kind of like jumped to other MMOs like just briefly, but I don't think I've ever even unsubsubbed from WoW in the last like 8 or 9 years. Like I think I've like there's been times where I've like taken a break or whatever, but not for very long. Like
Yeah.
which seems kind of crazy. Like thinking back on it, like how long have I been playing this game? But,
I know it starts to add up. Then when you look at your slash play, you're just like, what did I do?
yeah, like I don't even want to click that anymore.
Oh
And,
man,
like,
imagine seeing a slash play like combined for all of your characters at once. Be like, oh my
yeah,
God.
like I don't even want to know, man.
Tears would just form. But I mean, I've only been not playing for a few months. I stopped playing just before BlackRock the BlackRock raid.
BlackRock Foundry, yeah.
Yeah, I stopped playing just before that came out.
So yeah, I guess so. You haven't seen any of 6.2 yet.
I was thinking like, don't you mean 5.2? Oh, no, it is 6.2. I get those confused all the time.
Yeah,
Don't you mean like 1.6? No. I wasn't even around for that one. But no, I haven't seen any of that. I mean, I still go on the World of Warcraft website from time to time, and I'll look up on it. But as far as any of the story or anything, I'm actually completely out of the loop. I just know Gul'dan lives.
Yeah, like, but basically 6.2 brought a lot of changes, but you know, it really didn't bring a whole lot like new to the table. It was really just kind of feeling like, you know, the Apexis grind, you know, was still there. You know, if you did those Apexis dailies that were in your garrison, like the bar, and then you like complete objectives until the bar is full or whatever. Yeah. More crap like that, and then there's like, it was kind of like a Timeless Isle vibe, but worse. So basically, like you would try to get a bunch of Apexis crystals, and then you could actually buy an item like I think it was called Burden of Eternity back in Timeless Isle.
Oh,
yeah. So you could upgrade the item level of your gear or whatever. Okay. So the tokens you would get would be like 650, and then you could upgrade them to like 695.
Yeah.
Which was a huge like upgrade, you know.
Oh yeah.
Because Heroic BlackRock Foundry was 685, so.
Yep.
10 item levels up from that, so that's how I geared up, you know, pretty fast. But yeah, you didn't miss much.
I hate to say it.
Yeah. The new raid is actually not bad though.
You know what I wish they would do?
The new raid.
Oh, how's the new dungeon system? I heard that you can do the whole time walking or whatever it's called now, where you can lock yourself and whatnot, and mythic dungeons are apparently a thing. Yeah,
time walking and mythic dungeons. Both of those are. I was kind of excited about the features when I first heard about them. They're not super great, but the time walking dungeons. They really are. I mean, I really didn't find myself reminiscing that much. Like, even though the content is all the same and stuff like that, it seemed really watered down. As far as the difficulties, you know, it was pretty similar in difficulty. Like, I mean, not similar in difficulty. Like, it was the same place, but the encounters just didn't feel the same.
Right. I mean, granted, I know I forget the exact list, but I remember one of them on the list. I hate Gundrag. So when I saw that, I'm like, I don't want to go back to this.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like, I think it was like Halls of Stone or something. Like, I've run that thing so many times. Like, I never want to go back, set foot back there.
Oh yeah, because that's where it all started. Was all the Lich King ones that anyone who's done dungeon runs through Lich King is just like, oh, I've done these 1,000 times. Yeah. If anything, I would love to do a lot of the Burning Crusade ones, like Magister's Terrace at level. I've always wanted to do.
Oh yeah, Magister's Terrace is arguably, you know, one of the best dungeons in the whole game.
I have a huge heart on for anything Blood Elf, so
yeah,
it's pretty much just like I walk in and I'm just like, this is my place I want to be forever, sort of.
Yeah, I remember doing like my I guess the Shattered Sun prep grind or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
I had a lot of fun doing that. Like during Wrath of the Lich King, like towards the end, like I was like, you know, there was such a long gap in between Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm.
Yeah.
So like I kind of just went back and did all of that stuff on a 70 character, like just trying to just like bring it back. But
I think one of my most favorite. I'll let you finish your story.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much it. I was gonna talk about Mythic Dungeons, so you can just say whatever you're gonna say.
Okay.
First.
I'll keep it quick. One of my favorite things I did near the end of Wrath of the Lich King was start to go back through and solo basically anything I could. I think the only dungeon I could not solo, and I was even doing heroics on a Death Knight, because of course Death Knight.
Yeah, Death Knights.
And my goal was to try to get through all the heroics, and I got through pretty much every single one. They were really tough to solo at level 80.
Yeah.
And the only one I never got through was, I think, Blood Furnace, because the part where you had to let the orcs out of the dungeons.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep. They overwhelmed me. That was the only thing I couldn't get past. And yeah.
With those Burning Crusade dungeons, like CC was like a really big component of it. Like with not just the boss fights, but even the pulls in the dungeon were just difficult.
Yeah, same with Cataclysm though. Like early on Cataclysm, hell.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, Cataclysm was really hard at first, especially.
It was so great. Like if we can get that back, I would be full into Legion. Like if we get those kind of dungeons, I don't care if they're like on their own separate tier. I don't care if they're like mythic, plus 10 or something. Like whatever they got to do, like just do that, but make it worth it. Like make the gear worth it. Make it so it outranks doing raid finder. Oh, I could go into raid finder. I could just raid finder so much.
Yeah, I will admit though, for raid finder, like back when in Cataclysm when it was introduced, Dragon Soul, I probably would not have found myself actually ever doing that content at all had it not been for raid finder. And just actually, I think the only positive thing is that it gives players who aren't serious about raiding a look at the content.
And here's that's exactly where I draw the line in the sand. Because here's my one issue with Raid Finder, and this has been argued for years by everybody, is, it's like, oh no, these players wouldn't have been able to see the content. It's like, okay, you saw it, but do you really need to get better gear than pretty much anything else other than normal raiding? Because that's what Raid Finder is. It's the best in slot for not normal raiding. Yeah. It beats out all the dungeons. It beats out, I think, all the reps, the rep grind stuff. Like it beats out everything.
And I don't know if you remember this in Cataclysm with Raid Finder, the Raid Finder tier sets was actually something that raid guilds required you to have.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember quite how that worked, but supposedly some of that Raid Finder gear was best in slot at one point somehow. I don't remember.
I'm sure it was a thing where it was best in slot until you got the normal version.
Yeah, something like that. But basically
even the non-tier pieces that were higher didn't outweigh the tier set bonuses, even though the item level would have been lower because of Raid Finder. And I do respect that in Warlords they didn't allow you to do tier pieces, but the simple fact that the Raid Finder at all was better than Dungeons killed the viability of Dungeons ever.
I would do Dungeons over Raid Finder any day.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I've used Raid Finder for this whole expansion is the legendary ring quest chain. Farming the whatever in High Mall, the augment runes or whatever, and in Blackrock Foundry it was the.
What's the end of that thing? What does the ring do? Does it have any cool proc or something? When it becomes full on legendary?
It does have a proc. I actually don't have mine yet.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
It gives a raid wide buff.
Oh wow.
That shares a cooldown, all the rings share a cooldown with each other.
Oh, okay. That's kind of lame.
Yeah.
It's hey, a ring everyone has, and it's everyone is the cooldown at the same time. The cloaks I like the cloaks. I really like the cloaks. They were bad, especially the tank ones. You hit me, I don't die. Try again, please. Yeah,
and they had your own individual proc for your class or whatever. It was cool.
Okay.
And I'm talking about the capes, not the ring.
Oh.
Yeah. The cape had its own cool proc. The ring, it's just a raid wide buff.
Right.
That it's like a bloodlust or something like that. You use it and then you only get it once per fight or something like that.
And 9 rings were given to the race of raiders.
But the thing is though, I never get to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually have it, but if I did have it, I would never get to use it. Only one person is actually clicking, using the proc because.
Wait, is it an actual activated proc?
Yeah, you right click on it, does its
Oh
thing.
god, that person has to. It's like the bloodlust of the raid. You better not use the ring proc at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah, the base proc on it has a base proc on it that just happens sometimes, but I never notice. I never even notice it. It doesn't. There's no animation or anything.
Oh my god.
I'm I'm doing
this ring's so legendary. I don't even notice it. It's oh hey look, I'm wearing a ring that happens to be orange.
Yeah, that was I found Raid Finder really useful for farming to actually get the materials for it.
Yeah,
forming up because you get this, and also it was probably not necessarily a good idea for them to give the same amount of like the drop rate for the items for Legendary Quest Chain was the same, like on every difficulty, like Raidfinder, Mythic, whatever, the same difficulty.
God.
I mean the same reward for the Legendary Quest Chain, which doesn't really make sense to me. It's a legendary ring. It should be at least like a little bit difficult to get. LFR. All you have to do is do LFR to get it.
Yeah. See, my whole argument for one of the reasons why I loved World of Warcraft was the carrot and stick. Like, I loved the chase. Like, having the thing, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if you recall, but that was a literal trinket, too.
What was it?
The carrot on a stick.
Oh!
Yeah, mount speed increase.
I think it was just called riding crop, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a riding crop. That was two different
right.
things. Carrot on a stick, it was like a trinket, and like it increases your mounted speed.
And it didn't work over level 70. I think I actually got that at one point, but I was too high level to use it.
Yeah. I never had it, but I've seen it before.
I remember farming out Netherwing at level 80, and
that's a tough grind.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not as tough nowadays, but when you're only 10 levels above the mobs, and back then that didn't really mean a whole lot.
Right.
From BC to Wrath, and some of the elite mobs around there could still kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, there's like that one giant dragon guy that like just roams around.
Yep.
And it's like out of nowhere, you just get one shot or whatever. Like, watch out for that guy.
Yep. That was a fun time, sort of. No, maybe not so much. But it's one of those things. Like, yeah, I mean, it took forever, but it felt great. Like when I hit Exalted and I got the mount, and you got the whole like mini Illidan cutscene thing. Like it felt so good. And
yeah,
it just needs to be.
Awesome. But like the thing is though, like in Burning Crusade, if you actually did that during Burning Crusade, there just weren't a whole lot of mounts in the game. Like
yeah, especially flying ones.
Yeah, if you get like your default like Griffin or Wyvern or whatever, and then there's like this badass dragon, like, but now there's just so many mounts in the game that just another mount to your collection. It seems like it's just less of a big deal.
I think there's an achievement for getting 450 right now.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm sure you can technically get more than that. The thing that really annoys me, and I don't want to really make a huge tangent about it, but the cash shop mounts.
Yeah, completely agree with that. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be sure. I'm completely against that. Really, any sort of thing that you buy in game, because you're already paying for the game. Like you shouldn't have to. Like trading card mounts and stuff like that, I'm okay with, Yeah,
because I mean, we didn't even see those that often because they're that rare.
Yeah, and the level 90 boost. I mean, I really was against it at first, but I kind of see, maybe that was a necessary evil because you want to get to max level as soon as you can. Actually, jump into the content if you're new to the game.
It's a necessary evil, and it was kind of it's kind of so expensive that it's prices out a lot of people who would want to do it and think like, I could just level for for $60 I'll level myself, like that kind of thing. So it's not like everyone's jumping on it, but if somebody really just has the extra money and WoW's the only game they play and they really want to try out playing a hunter because they're the one person who never tried playing a hunter, I never got one past level 20, so
yeah. But if you're like first starting to play the game, you don't really need to be starting at 90. Like that's a whole full action bar of stuff you need to be clicking on. It's like it's
clicking an action bar.
It's not really a good place to start. You should just roll a level 1.
I mean, I don't think a new player would really want to pay into that because they've already bought the game, the expansion.
But if you buy the expansion in Warlords of Draenor, you get the free 90 boost.
That's true.
So
is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm just talking about in general, but I'm just bringing that point up, too.
Right.
If you're a new player to the game and you buy the new expansion, then you do get to start at 90 if you choose to. So
that's true.
And actually,
do the boost to 100.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Which, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's going to work on a demon hunter, but if it is, you're going to see a whole lot of them.
I know.
Again, everybody's going to be a demon hunter.
It'll probably be a thing where they let you do it, but you have to complete the quest line first, kind of like Death Knights. Yeah,
and at what level they start out to begin with, too. They haven't announced that, I don't think.
If I had to take some bets, let's see, because Wrath, you start off at 55, got to 80. I'm going to bet for 100, it's just going to be 20 levels higher, so you start off at 75 or something, and then you go up to Oh yeah, start off 55, go to 50. So like start off at 75, go to 78.
Yeah.
If they're keeping it the same thing, I mean, they might even just put you right at 90, so you can just, I don't know, run right through Miss Pandaria. But
Yeah, it's like it seems to me like I think you might be right. Like that, like it would seem to make sense for them to not start at 100.
oh no, you wouldn't run through Miss Pandaria at 90. You would run. That's when you start Warlords.
Oh yeah, like 85 or I guess.
Yeah.
But, I think it would make sense for them to start at 100.
100.
Just straight off the bat, just start at 100 because that
I wouldn't
way,
be surprised.
Because that way you're doing the quests or whatever, the Demon Hunter quests,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of leads up to it's based on the current expansion,
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense to be doing all this Demon Hunter stuff and then go to Mr. Pandaria, like it just wouldn't really.
It's kind of like creating a death and be like, oh yeah, we rebelled against the Lich King. Now I gotta go stop Illidan. What?
Oh yeah. I guess you're completely right about that. I didn't really think about that. Yeah, probably. Yeah, play your Demon Hunter level 85. Go to Pandaria.
Yep.
Fight some pandas.
Gotta fight the Shah that are already dead.
But yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I guess they'll probably be announcing that stuff before too long.
Yep. But man, we're 40 minutes in. Haven't talked a lick about Legion, so we should.
I guess we haven't even talked that much about WoD either.
I know. There's any final thoughts on WoD before we move on to Legion?
Okay, I'd like to say real quick. I mean, a lot of people say it's a really bad expansion, and I pretty much agree with that. I thought it was a pretty bad, probably the worst expansion in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I'll let you get out yours, and then I'll get on mine.
Okay. So yeah, I'd say it's probably the worst expansion.
Why is it the worst to you?
It just had a lack of content, and I think a lot of people agree with that. The Garrisons, complete failure. Ashran was a complete failure. The rating, I will admit, was great. I thought I had a great rating experience. However, I probably wouldn't have rated at all if PvP had been good.
Right.
Like, PvP sucked. I was going to play PvP, and I was like, no, I don't want to play PvP, and so I just went ahead and started raiding. And even though I enjoyed raiding, that really wasn't my first choice at the start of the expansion. But I have had a great raiding experience. All the raids, even though there was only 3 of them, I had a good raiding experience. I thought they did a really good job. And one more thing, I think that Warlords of Draenor might have just been kind of a filler expansion. Like, I really hope this is not going to be the new norm for future expansions.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was really short. There's like a lack of content. My hope is that this was just like kind of, and I think it might link to the Warcraft movie a little bit.
That's one thing I heard. Yep.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I think that's probably a good assessment.
Because it rehashes the old stories, so people get familiar with characters, and then they can be like, "Oh, now you know what you're doing when you go into the movie theater." So it's like Warlords of Draenor, the Warcraft trailer.
Yeah, because right. But it kind of it seemed like it kind of just came out of nowhere,
Right.
Like the idea, like I was not expecting it at all. But like,
that's how I felt about Miss Pandaria, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say that too. Mr. Pandaria, that was completely new in every way.
Yep.
But like during Mr. Pandaria, like there was you did the legendary quest chain, and Wrathion was kind of like
we still haven't heard anything about him yet, have we? Like he hasn't he's still doing his whatever's his scheming.
I don't know if he's good or bad or what is.
I hope his storyline gets hashed out.
He's the son of Deathwing, right?
Yeah, he's the last black dragon. He's I believe it's either Deathwing or he's the son of Nefarian or son of somebody.
Yeah, something like that.
He's some black dragon from somewhere. Who cares?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more development of the characters in the next expansion.
Good. So,
one more thing, real quick.
Do it.
So, like Wrathion and Mr. Pandaria kind of said, there's going to be a Legion invasion to Azeroth. Like he kind of did you talk about that? Remember that?
Yes.
So I think that's why it would have made more sense for a Legion to come after Mr. Pandaria.
Right, and I'm willing to bet a lot of people thought like the Iron Horde was just like a Legion.
Yeah.
Like, maybe that's what he's talking about. Like, nah, dude, the real Legion's coming.
Yeah, so like maybe like Warlords of Draenor was just thrown in there in between, and like Legion they'd been working on it for a while, or at least I hope so. I'm not sure. Yeah.
What was the patch that ended Miss Pandaria? Was it 5.3?
I want to say 5.4.
5.4. So basically, Warlords of Draenor was the biggest 5.5 of all time.
Yeah.
It was a patch you paid for.
Yeah, it's like, and there's like an interview or whatever, like, I don't know if you saw it. It was like Mammy Twink or something, an interview with the developers.
I saw one interview. I don't remember which one it was, and I don't think it was that.
Ian Hazakostas, it wasn't Ian Hazakostas, it was Corey Stockton.
Okay.
And he basically said, this is like, we kind of see this 6.2 as like the pinnacle of the expansion.
Yeah.
He basically came out and flat out said, this is it. Like, Warlords of Draenor, this is the last patch.
Yeah.
And it just kind of surprised everybody. You know, they weren't expecting a new announcement for a new expansion soon and stuff like that. You know, it was just kind of a big surprise. And he said, you know, there've been 2 big content patches. 6.1, you know,
that's just a selfie patch.
Yeah,
that wasn't a patch.
Yeah, that wasn't a big patch. Maybe he was referring to Blackrock Foundry. I don't know if that was in the patch or not.
That technically came out before the patch.
Yeah, so I don't know what he was talking about. 2 big patches, but 6.2 was definitely a big patch.
Yep.
But yeah, World of Draenor, you know, it was not a very good experience. However, if you had never played World of Warcraft before and you just started playing World of Draenor, you might not think it was that bad, honestly. Like,
yeah.
But, you know, just coming to expect, like what we've expected from the previous Blizzard expansions, I think it was a letdown, personally. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Okay.
I'm done rambling about Warlords.
All right. So for me, Warlords, I was super ultra hyped because I was tired of pandas. And I was just like, yes, we're going to get back to Warcraft. Like, we're going to be fighting orcs and other things, which just turned out to be more orcs. And, but I mean, I just remember being really excited. Got it on midnight, of course, and went through the whole never being able to log in thing, so that kind of hurt. But
yeah.
I will say, out of all the expansions that I played, and out of all the leveling experiences, Warlords had the best questing as far as leveling. Probably, maybe on par with Wrath, because Burning Crusade was kind of boring for me to level through. Granted, I wasn't there during the peak. And I heard it was a very arduous grind anyway. But I loved Wrath of the Lich King questing, and I loved Warlords questing. Everything else is kind of meh to me, especially Cataclysm, because you can just fly over everything.
Yeah.
But Warlords, I love the questing zones. I love, like, if the Horde, like, you start off in Frostfire Ridge. Like, I love the heck out of that zone. It's so good.
Yeah, that was awesome. Like, just lore, you know?
Yeah.
Lore coming at you from everywhere.
So I think they nailed the questing. But then when you got to max level, things kind of started to tilt off. I wouldn't say it's like... I had all these things I was going to say, like, while you were talking, and then I forgot them, because that's what I do when I start talking. But, can you brush up your points again, Recoup? Just, like, once, give me a once-over. I'm going to type
sure. Sure. No problem. Well, like, you said World of Draenor was probably, like, your best leveling experience.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, honestly, too. I really love the leveling experience. My one complaint about it might be that it was a little bit too linear. You didn't necessarily have a choice of what you got to do. You got there, and, you know, you did Tanan Jungle. That was it. That was the only way to progress. You know, you, like, most of the time during a new expansion, you can jump straight into dungeons. You can jump straight into, and that's another thing. Dungeons had no quests unless you had the garrison building.
That's very true, yeah.
So that kept me from doing dungeons at the start of the expansion. Like, I queued for a dungeon, and I was like, what, no quests?
Right.
The experience, questing was just so much more experience that it wasn't worth doing, even though I really wanted to see him, because I was actually trying to level up really fast. And I dinged 99 the first day, and then, like, my internet connection...
How did you stay connected?
Yeah, my internet... I was actually playing a low-pop realm, so it wasn't as bad for me as it was for a lot of people. I got up at midnight to play it, or actually 3 o'clock here, Eastern time. I guess you're Eastern time too.
Yep.
So 3 o'clock, because I made that mistake before. I know you said that. Like, I've gotten up at 12 and been very disappointed.
Yep.
But so yeah, I got up at 3 to play the midnight release. I played pretty much all day, and there's pretty much only 3 hours of me not being able to, like, me having just complete problems. I couldn't get on at all. Another problem that I was having was that the first quest to get your garrison, bugged out for Horde. Like, no one could turn in that quest.
Yep.
And I had just, and the night before, I had gone through to Isle of Thunder, and I'd done every daily quest. I had 23 quests, or 22 daily quests that I'd already completed.
Oh, you are smart. I was thinking about doing that, but I'm like, these quests aren't going to be worth anything.
Dude, listen, this is what you do. So, the reason I had to complete the Garrison quest first, is so because I set my Hearthstone in the Isle of Thunder, and then I used my Garrison Hearthstone to go back. So I went and turned in those quests. By that time, I was almost 91.
Yeah.
And I went back, but I already had to wait 3 hours before I could even turn those in. But basically, what that allowed me to do was go to Gorgrond before everybody else.
Oh, nice.
So I just kind of was ahead of everybody, which was so I really didn't have as big a problem with abundance of other players getting in the way.
Right.
But I guess with a lot of the loot stuff, you don't even have to worry about that anymore. And if there's a boss guy you have to kill or whatever, everyone gets credit. It doesn't get grayed out.
Yeah, that was kind of a nice touch too. But
are you ready?
We went off on a side tangent, just like quickly rapid fire bullet, things you hated about WoD again. So it's going to trigger exactly what I wanted to say.
Okay, what I hated about WoD, a lot of stuff. The Garrisons. I really didn't like the Garrisons.
Yep.
I really didn't. I thought I really liked the questing experience. I thought my only complaint would be that it was maybe a little bit too linear. You didn't get enough choices of what you wanted to do. The dungeons, I really liked the dungeons too, but there wasn't any quest for them.
Right.
Unless you had the garrison building, and I didn't even screw with the garrison at all until I was level 100. Just didn't even mess with it. I was trying to speed level.
Yeah.
Another complaint was the bugs at the beginning. That's unacceptable, honestly.
Oh yeah, that should have been ironed out in testing.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. And I'd say maybe a lack of world content. I hear that a lot, thrown out a lot. Just that you're limited to your garrison. You have to always be in your garrison.
Yeah.
There just wasn't a lot of other stuff outside the garrison. And besides raiding, and for me personally, I really enjoyed raiding, so that wasn't as much of a problem for me. However, I'd also like to bring up that PvP was a disaster. Not just class balance, but faction imbalance was absolutely ridiculous, and it ruined PvP for me the entirety of this expansion. PvP was just a joke, in my opinion, this expansion.
Right.
And I do enjoy PvP a lot. So those would probably be my main disputes, although there are probably many more as well.
Okay. So now I think I got back on track. So Garrisons, I'll go off that one first because that was the one that kind of made me realize I didn't want to play anymore for at least for now.
Yeah.
So basically, Garrisons, what they did for me, level up, blah blah, start working on the Garrisons. It was great at first, like you said earlier. It's like, oh yeah, I get to do this thing, add followers, whatever. When I started logging in every day simply for the task of mining, herbing, doing the garrison dailies or whatever, and doing my daily profession thing, get out the hexweave cloth, get out the whatever it needs to be, and I was doing it on alts. Like when you're doing that 2-3 times, the follower missions too.
Oh yeah.
Managing that was a pain. Even with the add-ons, it took so much time. And it's just like you're checking this on multiple characters, and it's more like you're working on an Excel sheet than playing a game. And I just got to a point, I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And I just I could be here's what clicked in my head. Here's the exact thought process. The Garrisons make it feel like a single-player game, and there are much better single-player games. I'm going to take a break from WoW and play some better single-player games.
Yeah.
And that was the shining moment. I was just like, I could just leave.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought about leaving myself.
Yeah.
I haven't yet, but maybe I will before the next expansion.
Yeah. But yeah, questing was great. I mean, it's always great the first time around. The second time around, you're just kind of I did this. I want to just kind of grind through this. But no, I love the Lords, the story in each zone. They killed it, of course. The cutscenes were amazing. I didn't really care for Gorgon too much, but it's just the lore there wasn't great. But once I got to the play, whatever the one had Shadrath, that zone.
That would be what can't I think of it? That would be, what is it? Talador. Yeah, Talador.
I just want to point out real quick, one really funny thing I always notice whenever I watch people talk about World of Warcraft and podcasts, and they're like, I can't think of this thing. It's so obvious. And I'm just shouting in my mind, it's this, you idiot, it's this. And I'm finally the one to do it. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm on the other side. I'm forgetting the names of the cities, and there's some guy probably thinking like, dude, it's this city. Like, how could you forget? You've been there 1,000 times.
What's it called again? Orgrimmar?
It's called Hurricane Wind. Is that the one? Oh, Stormwind. Oh, I was close. But yeah, no, questing was great. Dungeons, I actually really loved the dungeons. I don't even know if there was one I didn't like. The plant one, I didn't really dig the aesthetics.
Yeah.
But honestly, solid. Once again, the only complaint is once you were done needing the gear, there was no reason to ever go back. And they had no incentive to grind out heroics. Like, at least in Cataclysm and in Wrath, like, you had the daily badges that you can go and get, and it made it a thing.
Oh, yeah. One thing real fast, sorry. I don't want to interrupt you. But the one thing that we didn't see in Warlords or Pandaria was those 3 dungeons that are added on in Lich King and Cataclysm.
Yes. That's, yeah. That's one
Everybody
of the
liked
things.
those.
I love the end of the final patch dungeons. I don't know why they didn't. I know Blizz came up with the excuse of like, oh well, if we had these, it's less time we devote to raids. Like, come on, guys, it's a load and you know it. Oh, here's something. If I had the ability to like sit down with Blizz and be like, you guys need to fix one thing. Here's what I would say. It's like, stop pumping out content so fast that can be consumed really fast, and make content that's going to take a long time to be consumed. And I know people are going to complain because they're not going to be able to get their, Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Ashes of Alar on day one. Because let's be real, if they had that in the game, people would be like, oh my god, I'm paying $15 a month. Where is it? It should be in my mailbox the second I log in. Like, I think, I hate to use the word, but there's been a lot of entitlement in the community.
100%, yeah, agree.
And everyone's throwing around like, I pay $15 a month, and it's like, come on, everyone pays it. You're paying it. It's not a right to anything. You're paying it to walk through the gates, to log into the screen, to play your character. You get nothing more than that. Yeah. It's like I'm trying to think of like a real world example that I can relate to. I guess like paying your internet bill. It's like I pay, Time Warner the X amount of money per month, but that doesn't mean that I get to, I don't know. I lost the analogy. Trying to think of something else.
I'll try to think of one.
Yeah. We're going to waste people's time by trying to think of an analogy. Yay! Go us. I'm not editing this out either. You're all going to have to deal with it. It could be anything. Let's think. Let's think outside the box. What do we pay money for that we use regular, or what are things that we could pay money for that we don't necessarily always do? Maybe like I'm trying to think of something like food related.
My mind is totally blank.
I know.
So like you're trying to think of an analogy for something like World of Warcraft where
yes.
you're just paying to like log in, but there's other stuff that you have to earn that aren't just given to you.
Yes. It's like I'm paying my monthly fee, but it doesn't mean I get the I don't get things just for I pay the money so I can do it, not so they can give things to me. I know that sounds weird, but that's why I'm trying to think of the analogy.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of anything that's related to.
Yeah. So dumb. Fast forward like 5 minutes if you want.
Yeah.
We'll probably think of this in the next 10 seconds if you do, because it's just gonna be like that. Look around my house for inspiration. Okay, I got one. Okay.
All right, let's hear it.
So I pay my landlord rent to live in my house. But that doesn't mean that he gives me furniture, food, a car, a job. He doesn't provide any of that. He provides the living space. That's what I pay for. You are paying Blizzard to occupy their space, to play in their environment. You are not paying money so that they give you things.
That's a really good one, actually.
Mm-hmm. You are in their space. You are there. That is what you paid money for. That's what you paid for the box. That's what you paid for every service. You get nothing else other than the privilege of occupying a digital space in their game.
Exactly.
That is what you get.
Exactly, dude.
Yep. There we go. Got it. Hope you didn't skip ahead 5 minutes. You will have missed that and whatever else we're going to say for the next 4 minutes. Whew, we got there, Coach. We got there. Okay, so I'll get back to I'm almost done with wrapping up the thoughts on Warlords of Draenor. So I talked about the things I didn't like, some of the things I did like. You mentioned the lack of world content. I agree. Like, the world bosses were all right, and going around and hunting like the rare mobs was okay. But oh god, anything to do that's like a time lost Proto Drake, f that.
It lacked incentive.
Yes. Oh, that's the thing. Like in Wrath, I was still doing Argent Tournament way past it was even relevant, just because of all the cool stuff you can get out of it.
Yeah.
And even now you can go back and get mounts. You can get that's I guess pretty much the primary thing. You can get some pets too, but yeah, just like creating things that have replayability.
Like the Netherwing.
Yes. Yeah, just like Netherwing. And as much as I love the whole cross-character achievements and cross-character rep and cross-character everything, essentially, I think that's kind of one of the things that took out the replayability, because I would go through and I would farm it on one character, and then I'd go through and farm it on another character. And granted, I'm not saying they should bring that back, because it
maybe just for some things, like, because I know nowadays people have a lot of alts.
Yeah.
So.
Which brings about its own conversation, but I don't even want to delve into that.
Not me either.
But I really miss having a world city, kind of like Dalaran. Dalaran was like my favorite place in Wrath of the Lich King. And even in Cataclysm, it was still very relevant because of all the portals, until they got rid of the portals. And then it became a ghost town overnight. Mages made so much money that day. Portal out of Dalaran to Orgrimmar.
Yeah, I'd say Dalaran was probably my favorite capital as well. Shattrath is cool, but I mean,
yeah,
Dalaran was better.
Well, Shattrath is also just like very depressing. Like the music there, it's very dark in the middle of a very dark place, and it's just like I feel depressed.
That's kind of the point of it, I guess, in some way. Like, or because wasn't it like destroyed or whatever or something?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact lore. And it was technically before my time or whatever. But, I mean, you go into Dalaran, it's like this floating magical city of like, yeah, we're Dalaran. Check us out. We got, like, cool stuff. And all the shops, like, all the profession shops are really cool. Like, you walk into the Alchemist one, it's like this giant flask for a door. And
I think it was like the inscription place. You'd, like, look up, and it was like this endless ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I remember seeing an endless ceiling? I'm going to have to go check this out.
I remember seeing it for the first time. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't seen it before.
What you didn't know about Dalaran. The documentary. But, no, like, I love that place. And then what you were saying about the PvP, like, I had so many high hopes for Ashran. That was going to be the thing that really, because I never really got into PvP. I was terrible at it. I tried for so long, and unless you really have a group or just a good side, then it's not really worth trying to get into, in my opinion, because you either
sorry for cutting you off again, but I was really into twinking for a long time.
Yep.
That might have been before your time a little bit. However, Wrath of the Lich King was kind of when that was going on a lot.
Yeah.
But like PvP, like playing as like a 19 twink or a 29 twink, like I thought that was a lot of fun, even compared to in-game PvP, because especially since you were playing against a lot of like noobs and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and nowadays it's everyone's got the gear, like the
heirlooms.
God, I can't even think of that word. All these words I haven't had to use in months. But yeah, heirlooms. Everyone's got those now, and even then, you can still do some pretty gross stuff. Like as a rogue, you can still one-shot people at low levels, and
oh yeah,
I would just roll rogues just to do that, and I would get. And then enchants, I would, because I've been an enchanter pretty much my entire WoW career. I would pretty much look up how, especially when they introduced enchant scaling, I would look up how certain was scaled versus each other and just get the most twinked out enchants onto.
Well, yeah, like they used to not scale down.
Oh, I know.
Level.
Yeah, I know
like that's when it was awesome, you know.
Yep.
But now, you know, it's kind of ruined the idea of it.
It ruined it, but at the same time, it's nice for leveling. It's really nice for leveling. Yeah. But yeah, PvP, it just twinking essentially became almost non-existent outside of farming very specific pieces that had like a 2% advantage over something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ashran, I remember being in ashran the first time, and we were facing off against the Alliance, and we had this giant tree staring us down. And
Fengrel, I think.
I don't think it was Fengrel.
Isn't the tree named Fengrel?
I don't believe so.
And then the Horde guy is Kronos.
Yeah, it's I know that's
something like
Horde.
that.
I forget this giant tree thing and the whole Alliance was just wrecking us for like an hour straight. And I was just like, this isn't supposed to be how it is. I was promised old school Alterac Valley where everyone goes and makes their individual contributions and endless battles that last forever, not things that were over in 20 minutes. Because all you had to do was kill the main person in ashran, and then everything just like reset. Like
actually, in 6.2, ashran's actually been changed a little bit. If you want me to go over that real quick,
go on.
There's a weekly quest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the weekly quest is to get 4 events. Do 4 events.
Yes.
And kill the enemy leader.
Okay.
And you get 500 conquest points, and you get a box that contains a piece of conquest gear. But the piece of conquest gear is a random drop.
Right.
I've gotten shoulders twice. So basically, I didn't really like that because PvP, it just gave people an advantage just based off randomness, whatever the box happened to drop.
Right.
And also it just made gearing for PvP, you had to do ashran. You couldn't do arena, you couldn't do battleground, or if you did, you also had to do ashran.
Right.
And there'd just be these daily quests that would award conquest and gear. So.
Gotcha.
Yep.
But as far as I'm trying to think what else was in Warlords, because pretty much the only thing I think of Warlords and I think Garrison, because it's been a while since I really touched it. Like I liked the first raid, the one with the ogres.
Heimwall.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty decent.
Yeah,
because that's I got through normal progression on that with my guild just before I got out there. And I've been main tanking pretty much since. Yeah, I've always either been a tank or I was playing on my Warlock until Cataclysm. And hold on, I've got to sneeze. I muted my mic so that no one heard the sneeze. But
I'm sure the viewers are gonna thank you for that.
Yes. Yeah, so tanking. So yeah, I've always been a tank, and I just love tanking. It just feels awesome. I'm the one taking the hit. What's up?
I'm also a tank.
Ooh, nice.
My main is warrior.
Warrior, the original tanks, the ones that apparently take skill. I don't know how much they've changed over the years. I've leveled up a warrior to 40. It's the farthest I've ever gotten.
Yeah, it used to be a really hard class to level up. What's your main? Like, which tank do you play?
Death Knight.
Death Knight.
Yep.
2-hand.
Oh yeah, I just love it. I love Death Knights.
Yeah, Death Knight. Every single spec is good.
Yep. I gotta say, like for DPS, I'll bounce between Frost and Unholy. I know in Cataclysm, I tore it up as Unholy. Like I was really good at Frost in Cataclysm. I was one of the first to figure out that haste was just the stat. Like if you could get haste. Like didn't matter. Yeah. Like that was just the thing you went with. And whenever we did the Toberad, I'd always be like, oh yeah, number 1 on the meters. What's up? Back when 15,000, DPS was good. But
yeah,
nope.
I like Death Knights.
Mm-hmm. And now they're no longer considered. Pretty soon, when the new hero class comes out, Death Knight's gonna be like, we're no longer the noob class. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just gonna be like old news.
Yep. Now it's like you new hero class. You can deal with everyone hating on you for being because it was Death Scrub for Death Knights or noob, like I don't know, all the different like noob names for Death Knights when they first came out, and now it's gonna be something for the Demon Hunters. I don't know what names they're gonna be called, but I'm sure something.
Yeah, so some other person is gonna do a good job figuring that out.
I'm sure there's someone tearing up an Excel sheet right now. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
day one, I've got 20 names to lay out in trade. Oh, but overall,
like, what are you gonna reroll Demon Hunter? Like, would you think that
I'll
you
try
that?
it out. I'll definitely.
What would you consider it to be like your main? Like, would you try just?
Still probably gonna go with Death Knight.
Yeah, I'd probably stay with my warrior.
Yep. That or Paladin. Actually, I might, because I really loved Paladin as well. And Cataclysm, I actually technically dual mained. I was actually a Pally tank and a DK tank. And for my guild at the time, they already had a DK tank. And they're like, you got to do your Pally tank. I'm like, all right, I'll do the Pally tank. So I even got to do some heroic Dragon Soul at the end. But it was the point where it was nerfed by 40%. So it didn't didn't really feel like it.
Pally tank was my main in Wrath of Lich King.
Yep. No one. What do you mean, Pally tank in Wrath of Lich King? No one played Pally. Everyone played Pally. Oh my god! I started leveling one, and I don't think I actually got it to max level until Cataclysm hit. Just because I would never spend a whole lot of time on it. But I have a fun story about my Death Knight.
Yeah,
and it's it is one heck of a tale. I'll try to keep it short because it's technically a doozy. Because we're already at, an hour and 11 minutes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, time flies.
Yep. Oh, yeah, you start talking about World of Warcraft, it becomes like a 10 billion hour ordeal. Pretty soon you look at your played on the podcast, it's like, oh my god, how much I've been talking about it, how much I've been playing it. Yeah. So quick story on the Death Knight. So, during Wrath of Lich King, me and a bunch of friends got bored. And we decided, okay, we hate the people on Illidan. Like, the Horde players were just complete jackasses in Battlegrounds all the time. So we were playing as Horde, but they would just, like, say really bad stuff in the Battleground chat. So we wanted to troll the crap out of them. We decided to roll 3 Gnome Death Knights. And I forget what my 2 friends' names were, but I decided to come up with just the dumbest name ever. I'm like, what would be dumb and annoying for a gnome? So I thought of the name Twinkerballs. I'm gonna let that one sink in. Okay, enough sinking in. So here I am leveling up this Death Knight named Twinkerballs, and eventually I get to level 80, and I just started doing as much PvP as I can because I want to get PvP gear. And our entire objective was just to go throughout the Illidan server and gank lobbies like in Terran Mill before it was changed, and we would just gank the crap out of everybody. And my friends, how they ganked, because they spent a lot of their time doing that at the time, how they ganked was they ganked for a little bit, and as soon as anybody showed up, they just left. Well, I decided, like, I'm going to take it a step further. We're going to add insult to injury, and we're going to get so good that we beat them. Well, we never really beat them, but I tried. And then I started doing things like trying to get into pug raids, and I'm surprised anyone let me in with a name, Twinkerballs, with mostly PvP gear. Like, if anyone inspected me, like, this guy's in full PvP gear. That happened to me a couple times. But eventually, flash forward a lot, I got him geared up to the point where he could do ICC and tank it. And before my main ever downed the Lich King, I ended up downing the Lich King with my troll character, a no-named mother effing Twinkerballs, and I downed the Lich King the last week of the expansion. And then ever since, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna play. I changed it in Cataclysm to a Worgen, and I changed the name as well because I was just like, I don't want this being my name anymore. But ever since then, that's how my tank or how my DK became my main, because I started getting achievements and stuff. I'm like, I have more achievements on my stupid reroll character that ganks people than I do on anybody else. And this is before cross character achievements, so I'm like, F it, this is my new main.
Well,
so that is the heroic tale.
Yeah, that's a great story.
Cool story, bro. Tell it again sometime.
Yeah.
Do you have any cool stories?
I'm trying to think. You might have to come back to me on that, actually.
Okay. I know it's kind of like just out of the blue.
Yeah.
It is late. It is now midnight on the Eastern Realm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. 12 o'clock.
It's the coast with the most.
We never really even talked about Legion. Like, do you want to go over that, or?
Tell you, I will do the viewers a favor. We're gonna do a part 2.
Yeah, let's do a part 2. I think that's a great idea.
And we'll title it the part where we actually talk about Legion.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much. Like, I'm gonna put a preface. I'm gonna put a note if I remember, saying that we don't actually talk about Legion, and if you just want to hear us ramble.
Yeah.
Because I feel bad. I'm sure someone's just like, you haven't even talked about Legion yet. Oh, that's what I clicked on here for. Add to my notepad here. Part 2, where we actually talk about it.
Yeah, it's probably going to take a while to talk about because
maybe not. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of info to work off of. Most of them be like, "Here's my hopes and dreams. Make them happen, please."
Yeah.
All right, so I'm just gonna cuss off there for 2 seconds. So thank you guys for watching. Hey, you got a shout out to any of your viewers you need to do?
No.
How do you usually end your end your shows? I guess.
I don't really have anything like specific, but whoever you may be, thank you so much for watching the video. And if you made it to the end, that is. But thanks for watching.
If you've enjoyed our rambling,
if you've enjoyed the video, I guess we're gonna make Legion Part 2, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, right here on Something Podcast Z.